In the previous tutorial, I showed you how to create a local SQL database in the Visual Studio environment. And now, in the second part of this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use the user interface to interact with the backend database. I already created this interface, and I'm going to use this interface to save records into the students table. If you recall, we have created two tables in the database. One is students and the other is courses. And in this example, I'm going to use the students table. Okay. So the student table, if we look at the Server Explorer data connections, okay, you can see that in the test.mdf file, the students table has four fields: student name, gender, age, and major. Okay, so I have a corresponding I have four text boxes on this form. So the form will work like this. When I click on the save button, connection will be established between the form and the backend database, so that the information in these four text boxes will be saved into the students table. Okay, so first, I need to create a method for this save button. You see, I double click on it. It's froze. Hold on, my computer froze. Okay, so let's view code. Okay, it's here. Now I need to write code in this method to make the saving take place. But first, I need to create the connection between the database and my program. Okay, so watch carefully. Here's how you do that. First, you need to bring out the data source window. Okay, to do that, you go to View, Other Windows, and choose Data Sources. Okay, here's the data source window, and in the middle, there's one line called Add New Data Source. I click on this one. Okay, this dialog shows up on my screen. Database, I want to establish a connection with the database. So I will select database, click next. I will create a data set in my program. The data set is a local copy in the memory, okay, of the database in the external database server or other places. So I click next, and the text connection string. So this is our new connection. The string, if you look at the string, is like this. Okay, this should look similar to you. Okay, familiar to you. In the sub meeting, I showed how to use a connection string to establish a connection to an Access database. So we click next. Here's the structure of the database. It has tables, views, stored procedures, and functions. Right now, we only need to use tables, so I check tables. Okay, and a data set will be created after this. It's called a test dataset. This will be a class in the C# environment. We will use that a lot in this example. So I click Finish. Okay, now if I go to the Solution Explorer, you can see something happened. The test dataset.xsd file is created. Okay, this has the structure of the database. If I double click this, you can see I have two tables, courses and students. Okay, I have a fields, I have a methods, so the basic methods for insert and get data from the database tables. So for now, but this this has to be used in your programming to take effect. So now I just want to show you what they look like. So I just close it, and now I want to compile my program because I need to use some components I just created. So if I show the design view, you can see the toolbox is like this. And after I compile this, okay, now nothing will happen because I didn't write any code yet. Now if I look at this toolbox, you can notice clearly there's a new group added to this toolbox. It's called DB Demo Components. Okay, test dataset, course table adapter, students table adapter, and table adapter manager. Okay, we need to use these classes to create objects so that the connection between the database and our Windows form can be established. Okay, so now let's see how. First, I need to have a test dataset. So I drag and drop onto my form. Nothing happens, and a background object is created, just like a timer. Okay. So test dataset 1 is the dataset I created, and then I need an adapter because I need to use student table, so I need a student table adapter. So I simply drag and drop. Okay, so I have these two objects to help me to create the connection. Let's see, adapter. Let's see, student table adapter. Okay. Now, let's see the data source. Okay, now what I can do is I go to the code view, and now it's time to write the code for the connection. Test dataset dot course students row, right? Student. You see all these relevant objects that mimic the database objects are created in this programming environment. So I can just use them. So students row. I want to create a students row. I can call it S equal this dot. Remember, I have an object called test dataset. Test what is the name of that? Yeah, test dataset 1. Yeah, test dataset 1 student. Test dataset is similar to the database. The only difference is that test dataset 1 exists in this C# programming memory. And then I will have create a new student row. This is a method for the students object. Basically, it creates a new row for the students table, but this row is empty. Okay. So S name. Because S is a student row, it has 4 fields, right? 4 columns: name, gender, age, and major. So I can just populate these 4 fields by using the data from the text boxes on the form. A new row will be created for the table. Okay. So this is text box 1. S.gender equals because gender is integer, so I'm gonna convert this to int 32, and this will come from the text box 2. And s.age, similarly, we need to convert it to integer, and this is the text box 3. Finally, the major. This is the text. I can just get the information from text box 4. Alright, now this new row S is created. And then it's time to put this new row into the database. How to do that? Now we need the table adapter. Remember, we have dragged 2 objects onto the form. Test dataset and students table adapter. The test dataset is used to create the new student row, and now the students adapter will be used to update the external database. Okay. So now I call this adapter students table adapter 1, and there's a method called update, and the update can take data row, take 1 parameter data row. So the data row will be the students data row. So I simply put S in the parentheses, and that's it. So after this, the data will be saved into the external database. And then I simply say I can message box dot show saved. This simple. Okay. If nothing happens, that means the data will be saved successfully. Now let's run it. Name, okay, Jack, male, age 19, major MIS. Okay, I click save. Yeah, saved. So it is saved. How do I know it is saved? Okay, there's a simple way to do this. Let's see. Let me show you quickly. Okay, let me just put something beside it. Yeah, I'll go to the data group. There is one object called the data grid view. Okay, it's a simple, quick, and easy way to show the data in your database. To choose data source, I can go to other data source, form 1, test data set 1. Okay, this is the data set in my, let's see, project data set. Yeah. So test data set 1. Okay, it's the data source I want to use. And let's see, we need to do something more here. Test dataset 1, and the data member, we also need to choose which table, because the test dataset has 2 tables. We want to display the student table here. Okay, now we have this template ready, and then I need to do something else. Okay, so after this is saved, I want to, let me see. I want to trigger this. First, let's see what's going on. Okay, nothing happens. Let's see if we'll. Hold on. Let me just add this to the data set. Okay. Test student, add student row. I also want to add the students row into the data set. Then I update the external database. Okay, now let's see. Name, Okay, you can see the table is immediately updated. Okay. Right now, what I showed you is just the local update. Right now you cannot see whether this is updated in the external database yet, and we will do that in the next tutorial.